am Diep.
I'm Jose.
And we're your token theater friends, bringing a POC perspective to the performing arts. Every 2 weeks, we review 3 shows at 3 different price points and tell you which ones we would actually pay money for.
Today we're going to be talking about Angels in America, which recently opened on Broadway, Yerma, running at the Park Avenue Armory, and Lysistrata, running at the Flea.
In the small sense, it's about a young man who discovers he has AIDS. In the larger sense, it's also about the socio-political angst that people had in the 80s because it talks about the hole in the ozone layer, it talks about Russian interference, and it also talks about this giant pandemic that's killing a lot of people. So people were feeling very anxious about the state of the world and they thought the world was ending. So this play is about all of those things in 7 hours. And also there's a scene in heaven. A lot of stuff happens, right? Because a lot of stuff happens.
Everything happens.
So, background for me, I've never seen a production of Angels. I only saw the movie and I didn't enjoy it. And it wasn't until I saw the play that I realized why I didn't like the movie. Because this play is the subtitle of the play is a gay fantasia on national themes. And so it straddles the line. There's realism, but then it goes into the fantastical because there are angels involved. And so the movie really, it was all naturalism, and I think this production really straddled the line beautifully between that realistic space and that supernatural space, and the transitions between both were just fantastic. But I also thought like some of the themes actually really quite resonated with me living today, because right now I feel like we're all in this panic about the state of America, and we feel like the world's ending because the Earth's collapsing and our political system's collapsing too with it. And so I could see the themes from the 80s really coming into today and really noticing, these things are cyclical, I thought.
I did not like this production one bit.
Oh, okay.
Like, at all. First, before anyone faints and before people clutch their pearls, I have to say that Angels in America is indeed one of the greatest American plays ever written. Mm-hmm. But mounting a production of Angels in America, to me, is like the theatrical equivalent of like when someone runs a marathon, or when someone makes a souffle. But should I applaud an achievement just because they made it, just because someone ran the marathon? I think that the way director Marianne Elliott approaches the play is from a point of like, it's such a sacred play that she does nothing with it. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like the production works in spite of Marianne Elliott's direction rather than because of her direction. Mm-hmm. Like, she didn't give me anything other than a production.
Yeah.
And in fact, I'm going to be slightly controversial, and I'm going to give this Angels in America a pale fail. So, maybe I've been spoiled by having seen productions of Angels in America with people of color besides Belize, who is, the only person of color.
In traditional Angels in America productions.
But, this production was devised in England. They're coming off of Brexit. There should have been, I would have killed to see a Middle Eastern actor play the angel, for instance. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel that Marianne Elliott stays very safe. She casts white people who feel that they're brave because they're playing gay. This production doesn't feel like 2018 to me. This production to me feels like 1994. And I know that we've gotten criticized for people believe that we want to go to the theater and see ourselves, and that's not necessarily the case. But when I go to see Angels in America in 2018, I don't really want to see yet another play that's just pandering to white, gay males. I don't want that anymore. Yerma is a very loose adaptation of Federico Garcia Lorca's play, in which Billie Piper plays a nameless woman whose obsession with becoming pregnant sends her down a path of total destruction.
So, like Angels, this play is also an English import. It was originally mounted at the Young Vic, and it's directed by Simon Stone, and the way he did it was so interesting. So the audiences are staged on both sides of the stage, and there's floor-to-ceiling glass glass on both sides. So it's like you're looking at this woman and her life through like she's like in a glass box, a cage, like a little zoo specimen.
I was like, it just left me speechless, and that's very rare. And it took me a while to, I don't want to sound too precious about it, but this production of Yerma has been haunting me since I saw it. I just thought the production was just like splendid. It's it combines surrealism, it pays tribute to Lorca's beautiful text, not necessarily through the dialogues and what the characters are doing, but through the spirit of the play, which is so raw and so violent in a way.
This is one of those plays for me that in the moment I loved what I was seeing because all of it was so visually stirring, and Billie Piper's performance, she's so raw. And then I leave and I'm thinking about it and I think, wait a minute. So the play is set in 2018 because they modernized everything. So what is it trying to say about womanhood and what's expected of women in 2018 when it's starring a woman who like destroys her life because she wants a child? And also, if you want a child that bad, what is it saying societally about what's expected of women? And I'm still trying to figure that out. So if anyone has thoughts about that, let me know.
The Q Brothers Collective take an Aristophanes in this hip-hop version of Lysistrata that sees the action move to a modern college where the female students, led by the powerful Lysistrata, go on a sex strike to protest the brutality of the Greek games. I was not expecting to have as much fun with this play as I did.
Talent-wise and musically, it is great. Message-wise, I don't really understand what it brings to Lysistrata in 2018. So that's another example of an adaptation where I don't understand the reason for adapting it. It was one of those times where a bunch of men wrote a show thinking it was feminist because the women were talking about how feminist they are, without actually doing research or interrogating what that feminism is.
I have to say that I really appreciate it, though. At the top of the show, there's a disclaimer where they say, like, we're a bunch of dudes and we wrote this.
Yeah, but that doesn't forgive it, though.
But I appreciated the show because, like, men get criticized, rightfully so, a lot for just saying, you know, these are women's issues, so we won't talk about it. Like, we've seen how many Hollywood celebrities, and let's not even talk about theater people, and how many men in the entertainment industry have been completely silent about the Me Too and Time's Up movement. Like, I felt like the show itself was a learning process for the people who created the show, who wrote about the show.
Yes, and I hope they take what they learned from female audiences and put it in the next iteration of this work.
So if you had to pay for one of these shows, which one would you pick?
I would, and I don't say this lightly, I would pay for Angels only because it is so rare to see something that ambitious on Broadway, just a 7-hour well-done marathon that it doesn't feel like 7 hours when you leave. And if you break it down, you know, if you're paying $200 for both parts of Angels and you break it down by 7, like, it's like $30 an hour. It's fine. It's totally worth paying $30 an hour for that production.
That's fair. Meanwhile, I would say, Billie Piper, all my money is yours.
A very little theater journalism money.
Yeah, so more like opening like a tiny purse. Yerma, all my coins are yours. Next up, we went downtown to the Sheen Center to talk to Grace McLean, who you might know from Natasha Pierre in The Great Comet of 1812, and also for her incredible discography. So Grace has a show on April 20th. So let's check it out.
I like to joke about how a story I wanted to do, which I never got to do, was to put a Fitbit on the actors in The Great Comet and see how many steps you guys took during a show.
It's somewhere between like 50 and 100 flights of stairs a show, like something insane. Because not only
Yes.
stairs on the stage, there's stairs backstage, there's stairs to get up to your dressing room, to go down to the basement. Like the whole thing is just stairs.
Oh, wow.
There's no flat surface except for like the very bottom of the stage where you walk to some more stairs.
And since we're above here, I guess that's a great segue for you to tell us
Yeah, but
we're at the beautiful Sheen Center.
Yes, we are.
What are you going to be doing here?
I am so excited about this concert, you guys. I'm doing a concert with my band, Grace Clean and Them Apples, as part of the Sheen's series on muses and inspirations. I think I'm calling it Women and Their Muses. So I'm doing mostly covers of women artists that I dig.
What I love about your music is I describe it in my head as like if Peggy Lee and Regina Spektor had a baby.
I love that.
And like, what were your influences in creating your sound?
Yeah, Regina Spektor is a great place to start. She's one of the first people I listened to that like gave me permission to be a songwriter. Also Joanna Newsom, are you familiar with her? The harpist. She's wild. Fiona Apple. I love an angry woman. I love an angry woman.
And you play angry women very well.
Thank you. Thank you. We need more voices for angry women because listen, we're all kind of angry.
Will you be doing some of your original material too?
Yeah. And that's mostly going to actually center around this musical that I'm writing about 12th century mystic and polymath Hildegard von Bingen. What was so interesting about her, she's also a composer. She's like one of the first recorded Western composers that we know of, and she's a woman. Insane. Well, she's existing in a world where you look at the palette and you're like, oh, that's clearly medieval. But what she's doing is like not like anything else anybody's doing, and it's because it's so intensely personal. And that's a wild thing because nobody is an individual in the 12th century. But she sort of used that structure to her advantage. Like she would write letters to the Holy Roman Emperor at the time and say, hello, sir, I'm a woman, so I'm disgusting. I'm like the lowest, dirtiest creature in the world, but we know that God uses the lowest and dirtiest creatures in the world as his mouthpiece. So here's what he has to say to you, and here's all the things that you're doing wrong, and here's how angry he is about it. I didn't say it, God said it.
What's the sound of the musical like? Is it like medieval sounds, or is it like rock?
It's like pretty wild. I do use some of Hildegard's original music as a starting off point for some pieces. I'm using, I don't know if you know this, but I write most of my music with my band on a looping station. So it's a thing where I record my voice, it loops, and then I'll layer on top of it beats, harmonies.
Like, I would love to hear your unique voice tackling characters that are done in a classic way. So what characters are you just like dying to do? What musical characters are you like, I have to go for them?
Oh, I mean, this isn't like a classical character, but Fanny Bryce. I want to be in Funny Girl so bad.
Please make it happen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You have the look.
Well, I got the hair.
Yes, exactly. That's most of it.
I don't know. I'm normally like mothers or witches. Yeah, I'm never an ingenue. I'm never a lover.
Oh, what? The Witch and Into the Woods?
The Witch and Into the Woods. That's
But that's
right.
like, you're way too young for that.
Clearly.
Yeah.
One day. Don't worry, everybody.
No, the hot witch. Like, because
The
she
hot
becomes
young witch.
hot at some point,
And
and
she's
so you.
Rapunzel's mom. She's still waiting. Like, yeah, you're not Rapunzel's mom's age. Yeah, not yet. Like,
That's the thing. I'm like, when I'm 50, things are going to start happening. You know? I can't wait.
So for today's 11 o'clock number, where we rant about things that we hate or love, we're doing something we love. Recently, NBC did their live musical broadcast of Jesus Christ Superstar, starring John Legend, Sarah Bareilles, Brandon Victor Dixon, and it was amazing. It's streaming now on NBC. You should watch it. And one of the reasons I loved it, besides the amazing vocal performances, was because it was a really diverse cast. You had Black Jesus and Black Judas, and also there were Asian people too. You also had Jinha from M. Butterfly and Jason Tam, and also Norm Lewis was in it. Oh my God, that cast! I just love that cast so much. And the performances were amazing, not because those performers were people of color. It was because they're just talented performers. And it shows you that when you cast diversely, not only do you get great quality, but also you bring more people into the fore as audiences.
we have to remember that these productions are seen by way more people than like a single Broadway show during their entire run. Like we're talking about millions and millions and millions of people. And I love how it changes, you know, it hopefully educates them.
Because some kid of color will see Black Jesus and will go, oh, I can do musical theater too. And so you're inspiring so many more people. And that is it for our show. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to us on the YouTube or like American Theater on Facebook. And if you have comments and questions, leave them below. And as always, I'm Diep.
I'm Jose.
And we're your token theater friends. We'll see you soon.
Bye. Am I the only gay male you know who didn't like the production?
I think so.
Yeah,
Hey,
I'm gonna have my gay card revoked.